This is the Always More podcast.
Hello! It is November 30th, and welcome to the Always More podcast, where we believe there's always more room at the table for honest questions, meaningful conversations, and deeper understanding. Today on the pod, we're talking about our Wreckin' Revs for the week, African kingdoms, frozen ancestors, shower thoughts, crazy weather, and so much more. But first, hi, I'm your host, Harley Bean, and technically not next to me anymore, but in front of me now.
And whose fault is that?
Hey, relax. It is simply the way of life, okay? But in front of me are my besties for the resties, Chris and Tim.
Yo, yo. Hello, everyone.
How
miss you,
cool.
Harley.
Technology.
I know.
The
It
21st
connects
century.
us.
Could you imagine having to do this in the 1700s? We would just write correspondences back and forth. Our dearest Harley, we hope this letter finds you well. The weather here has been insane.
Mother has
Our
died.
podcast is like a newspaper article that comes out twice a year.
Right.
You just print the letters back and forth like they did with the Silas Dogood letters.
What? What are you talking about?
The Silas Dogood letters. You don't remember those
No.
from National Treasure? It was Ben Franklin and three other founding fathers just writing letters back and forth, and they
yes.
just published
Oh.
them in the newspaper as pseudonyms or whatever.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
It'd be the Always More podcast letters, and nobody would know what a podcast is.
Always more news.
Always More correspondences.
There you
I
go.
think that gave Tim an idea. I saw him go, oh.
There was an idea.
You
but
caught
I
it.
don't think I can handle the workload, so we'll move past.
You're already doing everything else.
That's valid, yeah.
Are we moving on?
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and move into our first segment of the pod, our Wreckin' Rev.
Bent, bent.
You were blocking my way. I would
was
have
I?
had it if
Sorry.
you were blocking it. Harley,
Oh.
can I say something before we move on, though?
Oh, yeah.
Because we have a quick news thing. Next episode is going to be our last episode of Season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, guys, I just have to say, this makes me really happy on the inside, is that episode is going to be episode 50. It's
Whoa.
like this.
It just levels out perfectly.
It's like, oh, I feel so good right now.
It's like when you're at
That's
the gas
delicious.
pump and you hit $20 and it's right at the 15 gallons,
Yeah.
000. It's
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
It's
That's
nice.
good.
it's going to be really.
He said only happy on the inside. He will never show you that physically on the outside.
So, anyways, yeah. So next week, episode 50, the ending of season 2, and then we're going to take a break for about 2-3 episodes worth. I don't know, about a month's worth, if not a little bit more,
Roughly that.
and then
Yeah.
we'll come back with a banger.
My plan is to start drinking eggnog and whiskey December 15th and just not sober up until after New Year's.
Guys,
my
should we
God.
make? Wait. I have a better idea. Should we make episode 50 our first drunk or drinking episode?
Dude, yeah.
We would have to do it on a day where I'm not working.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
Yeah. I have Hunter's dad made us moonshine. And I'm
Oh.
not talking I'm talking legit moonshine, because obviously he made it.
Yeah.
So,
Have you had it yet?
oh yeah, it's good. It's like apple pie moonshine.
Oh, fancy.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
All right.
Pretty
My
good.
very first drink was moonshine. I think I was maybe 5 years old, and I
Oh my
found some
God.
at my granddad's house.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it was rough. it was bad.
He said, don't be sorry. I had a blast. It was great.
All right. Now we can move along. I apologize.
No, all is well. Okay, next we're getting into our Wreckin' Rev.
Yeah.
Very
we go.
cool. All right, Tim, you go ahead. Take it away.
All right, guys. I just watched a film called The Woman King.
I really
I have no
wanna
idea
see
what that is.
It's on my server. You should watch it.
I will.
All right.
Now that I know where it's at.
All right. So forgive me for any mispronunciations that will definitely come forward here.
As he proceeds to mispronunciate.
Yes.
Mispronunciate.
Mispronunciate. A historic epic inspired by true events that took place in the kingdom of Dahomey, one of the most powerful states of Africa in the 18th and 19th centuries. The Woman King tells the extraordinary tale of Agoge, an all-female warrior group that guarded the African kingdom of Dahomey in the 1800s with prowess and fierceness that the world had never witnessed before. The Woman King, which is based on actual events, follows General Naniscus, played by Viola Davis, emotionally grueling journey as she prepares the next generation of recruits for combat against the adversary out to destroy their way of life. This was a very awesome, cool film. I have purposely been trying to watch films that are not about European or American history more.
Makes sense.
When it comes to history, just because
There's a lot more out there, and the more we watch it, the more likely we are to get more stories like it.
Yeah. So this has Viola Davis. Again, forgive my I can't pronounce anything. So Thuso. These are actors and actresses. Thuso Mbedu, Lashana Lynch, and John Boyega. It's a really good film. It's really entertaining. As I think the description mentioned, it is based on a true story, though there is a lot of fictional liberties taken for the sake of just progressing the story.
Right.
But it was very entertaining. It was very informative, and it was very empowering. I really enjoyed it.
Very good. I need
looks
to watch
really
it. What's
good.
it on?
I don't remember. I have it.
We will find it and send you the link later.
Yes.
Very good.
Chris, it's you.
All right. So, weirdly enough, mine is a movie that was recently released with a lot of controversy.
For all the reasons that have nothing to do with the movie itself.
Yeah, it was all like the behind the scenes controversy. But this movie is Don't Worry, Darling. Starring Harry Styles and Florence Pugh, a bunch of other actors, Chris Pine, Olivia Wilde, all of that stuff. Great concept for a movie, I think. The movie itself was pretty good. I appreciated it. Knowing that Harry Styles and I have the same birthday was weird, just watching the whole movie, but
Why is that
weird?
it is what it is. I don't know, just
That man shares my birthday. How
it
dare
feels weird, right? Like, have you ever had a birthday with somebody and you're just like, you don't deserve that day?
No, mine is shared with Beyonce, so I'm solid.
Hunter shares a
Well,
birthday
then
with
you don't deserve that day.
Oh.
Beyonce is the queen
Hunter
of the
shares a
internet.
birthday with Donald Trump.
Oh.
Yeah. So I get that. He gets that.
You understand then.
You mean he
Yeah.
shares a birthday with Hunter? That's how we need to look at this.
Yeah, he does.
All right, fair enough. Well, this movie, in the 1950s, Alice and Jack live in the idealized community of Victory, an experimental company town that houses the men who work on top-secret projects. While the husbands toil away, the wives get to enjoy the beauty, luxury, and debauchery of their seemingly perfect paradise. However, when cracks in their idealistic life begin to appear, exposing flashes of something sinister lurking below the surface, Alice can't help but question exactly what she's doing in Victory.
This film did a good job of kind of like not throwing you off, but you really like I knew something was off, and I knew like the kind of premise of like what they were going for, but I didn't realize what the actual deception was. If that makes sense.
Without spoiling anything, like it kind of felt a little predictable.
But yet not.
Once I started watching it, like if you just watch the commercials and everything, you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
The previews and all that stuff don't tell you anything except for who the actors in the movie are, and that's what they were banking on to draw you into it.
Right.
But it was a pretty cool concept for a movie.
Yeah.
I liked the twist towards the end. I did not like the ending itself.
I feel the same way.
I thought like it could have gone a little further. It could have answered a couple more questions that I had. And they left it open for a part 2, but I think they had said in interviews that there's definitely not going to be a part 2, and that's upsetting to me.
Yeah, I wanted it to end it with more vigor, if that's the word. A little more redemption, I guess, is maybe the better word.
Oh, no, there's no redemption for people like that. There's no redemption for people like that.
If you know, you know. What do you think about Harry Styles in the movie, like as far as his acting goes? Because, I mean, Florence just kills it every single time.
Yeah, Florence Pugh, I have zero complaints about. She is very quickly becoming one of my favorite actors. Her and Haley Steinfeld. So Hawkeye was just great for me.
Yeah.
But I think his acting wasn't super great
Tread
until
lightly.
the ending. And then you realize like what was going on, and it in hindsight brings everything back and you're like, oh, he was acting really well. He's a good actor. I didn't want to say it, but it's true. I think Harry Styles is a good actor.
Yeah.
And it becomes really evident when he's switching accents, like whether he does it intentionally or not. And that's pretty cool.
Interesting.
And last but certainly not least, I have Where the Crawdads Sing, the film.
Oh.
I have no idea what that's about. I know it's been a book, and that's why they made it into a film.
Do tell.
Yes.
But I have zero info. So dazzle me.
So this is the first time where I have watched a movie that was based on a book, and I thought the movie was better.
Ooh. You don't hear that often.
Yeah, I read the book like 2 summers ago, I think it was. It was during like the 2020 COVID summer when I was working at the library by myself, pretty much. And so I was reading it, and I was just like talking about it with my supervisor because she had also read it. And I was just like, this book is not that good. And it wasn't like, I guess it was more the writing and the way the main character was portrayed that I didn't enjoy. I don't know. It's just like I don't really remember exactly, but I just know I didn't exactly enjoy it. It was still an interesting plot, but like not my favorite.
Yeah.
But then I watched the movie, and for some reason, I just thought the film was so much better than the book. Like the way the plot line followed through, although there wasn't like a lot of the stuff that was in the book in the film, it did keep any like key points in the film from the book. And I think that was more essential than
it didn't just like delete characters and randomly throw stuff in there that wasn't there at all.
Yes, precisely.
Okay.
And it was nice because I was like, oh, I remember this part because I enjoyed this part. Or it was like, oh, okay, this part's about to happen. Oh, they did that part. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was just like in the book, I felt like it was a lot more chaotic,
Okay.
if that makes any sense. But yeah, it was a really good film. It's basically a woman who raised herself in the marshes of the Deep South, a.k.a. North Carolina, which I thought it was going to be like Louisiana when I was reading the book, but it wasn't. And it was like North Carolina. Did not even know there was marshes there.
It's weird that North Carolina is considered the Deep South.
Yeah.
South, I get.
Yeah.
Deep South? Yeah.
It literally has North in the title.
Yeah. Yeah, at least South Carolina, you know what I mean? But whatever. I don't make it up. But she basically becomes a suspect in the murder of a man with whom she was once involved with, like romantically. But
nice.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And I like that in the film they didn't make her out to be what is the proper terminology? She was just so mean in the book, the main character, which valid because like of certain reasons, but like but in the film they made her more like timid and
more docile,
more mellowed out.
Yeah. But the actress is Daisy Edgar Jones. This is the first film I've ever seen her in. And obviously it's based on the book written by, I believe it's pronounced Delia Owens. So,
right.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's pretty good.
All right. Well.
Is it worth me checking out?
I think so.
I
It's
enjoy
free
it?
on Netflix. So
Maybe.
I refused to pay for it when it was not free.
All right.
Because I think
maybe.
they had it on like Prime Video, but you had to pay for it. And I was like, absolutely not. Because if it's bad, I don't want to contribute to that.
Fair enough.
I expect Chris to first spoil everything and then decide if he wants to watch it or not.
That's 100% what's going to happen. Follow-up question. Do crawdads actually sing?
Not like sing like we do, but I believe they make sounds.
They do make sounds.
I mean, they're
'Cause
underwater, though. Would you know?
No, it's yes and no. Okay, so I used to live in
They
Beaumont.
make like a morning call, right?
This is something like that, yeah. So I used to live in Beaumont, and they make these little holes that are kind of like these little mud holes that can sometimes come out of the ground. And so sometimes they're in the water, sometimes they're not. But yeah, they make these little noises.
So when I was a kid in my neighborhood growing up where my parents lived, there's like really deep drainage ditches.
Mm-hmm.
And during the rainy time of the year, like they would live in those drainage ditches. So we would go crawdad fishing all the time, which essentially was just like us getting butterfly nets and like red Solo cups and just trying to catch crawdads in the drainage ditch.
What?
Yeah, I think like they're always like pretty small, but the biggest one I've seen was like the size of my hand as an adult now.
Yeah.
And that I didn't know they got that big, but it was like that one like lived inside the pipe, and I was too scared to go back there, but I saw it a couple of times, and it would just like go back into the pipe. It was cool.
You ever eat them?
No.
Oh,
Because,
really?
I mean, I've had crawdads before, but I never ate the ones I caught because I wasn't
that's what I meant.
entirely sure that they weren't eating poop.
Oh yeah. Oh, good point.
Because the drainage ditches, like,
Yeah.
they're just rain drainage ditches, but
Yeah, you never.
they
know.
also look like sewage drainage ditches. I wasn't messing with it.
Yeah, that's valid.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that's all of our stuff.
Yeah,
All right.
very good.
All
All right. Next, we're going to move into.
Shower thoughts with Chris.
So my shower thought, and these are actual thoughts that I have in the shower. So
I would expect no less.
Shots in the shower.
shots. You know me, 10 a.m.
Both.
shower beer. Shot. No. So how do people decide what they want to do when they make up their own jobs? And, like, how do I do it? Because, people are always like, if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Or if you want a job that you can demand your own pay for, you got to make it yourself. Like, how do people decide on that? Like, the guy that decided we're going to make flavored pet food. Like, And did he do it himself, or did he hire somebody else to be like, all right, you're going to try this pet food and tell me what the flavors are?
Oh,
Like, I need to know, is this chicken and gravy, or is this salmon and chickpeas? Is this the lamb and
I think when it's
chimichurri? Like,
I think when it's at that point, there's so much science involved. You got to have people, unless you're a scientist yourself, you got to have like some people doing it for you.
but then, like, who was the first person to be like, we could just sell these tiny pellets and call it dog food and be done. Like, it's going to have everything your dog needs.
Right.
Or I can make 2 different flavor profiles and sell them both and go that direction. Or like the guy that names paint. Like, you got to imagine he's being paid to come up with names for paint, like macaroni and cheese.
I was going to say, don't those names already exist?
Like red and blue, yeah. But I mean, like, if you go to Valspar and you get something that's like slightly
Pine Grove.
yeah, like
Or something like that.
Pine Grove, chartreuse, or things like that. Like, there are real colors like that, but some companies like copyright their colors,
Right.
Yeah.
so it's the same exact color, but you have to come up with a new name for it, and you have to go through all of the paint colors and be like, hey, this one already exists and it's copyrighted, so I can't use that. But I can say Pine Groves instead of Pine Grove. Like, it's got an S, so now it's different. Or Pine
Yeah.
Grove 2. Like, that, for me, that would be what I do. But, like, how do people get these jobs, and are they, like, lifelong careers?
That can't be. Like, who?
I don't think they're lifelong.
No, you're telling me
But
that
I mean,
someone's job is to
if
name
I could
colors.
get paid to name colors for the rest of my life,
No one has that job. Like, that is not their sole job.
someone has that job,
no,
though.
give me that.
Yes.
Show your work. No.
It has to be done.
I mean,
so
somebody
someone
probably
has to
currently
have
has
that
the job.
That can't be.
I don't think it's ongoing.
At least one person has to have that job.
True, but that can't be their only part of their job. I'm not saying that someone doesn't do it. I'm saying that's not their sole. Like, they don't come into work
mean,
and go,
maybe
let me
they
think
run-
of all the names I can think of right
Maybe they
now
run
for this
focus
blue
groups or
here.
something. I don't know.
That is the type of blue that comes down at, 12 o'clock on the East Coast.
It's got to be like a special type of copywriting, though. Like, yeah, the guy that comes up with the jingles for Hot Pockets, like, Hot Pocket. He got paid for that.
No, but
Yeah, but that was like a one and done.
Right.
Do you think he's still like?
Well, he's doing that for other companies, though. Like, that's
How do
his
you
job.
know?
He makes because that's what you do. That's what copywriting is.
He's
you
a
make
jingler.
jingles and you make
Oh.
ads and things like that. Like, I mean, obviously he was probably just phoning it in that day for Hot Pockets, but
you're
maybe he also did the Sham Wow
But
commercials.
you're mentioning
something.
a career that is not like brand new. Like, people have been making jingles for a long time.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, the first person to make a jingle, like, he made that job. He got paid for that.
See, I don't know about
And then
that.
somebody else was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it became a big thing, but initially, like, it was just one guy doing that.
I think it depends on
Yeah.
what the job is, because some jobs just evolved into something else.
Well, yeah, obviously, but that's what I'm saying. How do people come up with that first job the first time, and how can I get in on that?
Yeah. I gotta get you there.
Because, like, now you want to be a copywriter, you have to go to school and get a degree in marketing and management, and you need a bachelor's in business. But back then, it was just some guy that was like, hey, I think I'd be good at this. Like, watch
Yeah.
Mad Men. That's exactly what Don Draper did. He just walked up to some guy and was like, hey, give me a job.
But he didn't invent the job.
No, he didn't. But at that point, like, it was a new enough thing that you didn't have to go to school for it.
Right. Then what are you saying here? Are you talking about creating pure new jobs out of
Yes.
thin air? Or
Yes.
But that's not what Don Draper did.
But like easy jobs. No, I'm just saying, like, for example, like
okay,
that.
okay.
That's the thing. But like easy jobs like that. Like, I want to be the guy that names paint. I want to be the guy that's like, because nobody's questioning the guy that tries the dog food. They're like, hey, what does this taste like? And he's just like, salmon and chickpea. And they're like, dope. And they write it on the package.
Salmon and chickpea.
Because if you go and you're like, if you call the company and you're like, hey, this doesn't taste like salmon and chickpea, they're going to be like, well, it's not for human consumption. It's not for you. Your cat can tell. And then like you're just stuck there like, yeah, I guess my cat can tell. Like, this is a full thought that I had in the shower. Like, I played this all out.
Oh my gosh! All right, I'm done with this. This is I don't know how to answer this for you.
I
It's
don't
just
think there's a solution.
there is no
for this.
solution to this question.
I mean, maybe that is the solution. I'll be the guy that comes up with solutions and I'll get paid for that.
You're the guy.
Oh,
I'm already the guy.
he's the guy. TM,
Yeah, I remember one
trademarked.
time actually Tyler was talking to one of his friends and he said something that I know about. And Tyler was like, oh yeah, I've got a guy for that. And I just looked at him and was like, it's me. I'm your guy. I'm your guy.
I'm the guy.
can't- I'm the guy you have.
I'm the one who knocks. I am the guy.
Oh God!
Oh man! All right.
Thank you for that
Yeah, I
on
guess.
this wonderful.
I'm going to be thinking
Monday.
about it all day.
Okay.
It's Wednesday.
Fantastic. Well, we're recording on a Monday, so
They don't
take
know
that. Oh, we
Secrets.
recorded and posted this the same day
We do this
because
live.
that's feasible.
I think we could probably do a live episode and it'd be really fun.
It would be.
Not with this current technology. Not with this current technology we got going on.
One
We
day.
have to do some fixes first.
Get on that, Tim.
All right, on it.
Stat. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move into our next segment, which is
What did I miss?
Yeah.
fantastic. This
Feels
is the
good.
part of the show where we like to present to you some news that you probably didn't hear about. And I'm going to start this one because I've been excited for this and I've been putting it off for a couple weeks and I'm really mad about it. So,
I saw this and I was really pumped for it.
yes. So, tunnel discovered beneath Egyptian temple may lead to Cleopatra's tomb.
What?
Archaeologists say.
Come on.
Okay.
History.
So, hear me out. So, there was this like saying that Cleopatra apparently said, and she said, "No man will find my tomb."
Oh.
Right.
Plot twist: a woman might have possibly found her tomb.
I am no
So,
man.
Lord of
Yes.
the Rings. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling
A
it.
dig.
woman.
She says,
So,
I am no man. And then she hit it with a pickaxe.
okay. Anyways, so Kathleen Martinez has been searching for Cleopatra's tomb for the last 20 years.
Impressive. She's dedicated.
Yeah, she is. So according to CNN, Martinez and her team uncovered a 4,281 foot tunnel located 43 feet underground.
Yeah, see, that's the kind of stuff that you would not catch me inside of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen the pictures of it? It looks pretty like
Is it pretty open or pretty?
it's like a tall archway kind of tunnel.
Yeah, but still, that to me sounds like I'm about to get haunted.
Well, true, but also some of it's underwater, but I'll get to that in a second. So,
No.
No big deal.
No.
the excavation revealed a huge religious center with 3 sanctuaries, a sacred lake, more than 1,500 objects, busts, statues, golden pieces, a huge collection of coins portraying Alexander the Great, Queen Cleopatra, and I believe it's pronounced Ptolemies.
Mhm.
And the Ptolemies, Martinez says, which is the archaeologist. So a series of clues basically led her to believe that Cleopatra's tomb might be located in the Temple of Osiris in the ruined city of Taposiris Magna on Egypt's northern coast, where the Nile River meets the Mediterranean. So according to Martinez, Cleopatra was considered in her time to be the human incarnation of the goddess Isis. And Antony was considered to be that of the god Osiris, Isis's husband. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So basically, they find this temple, and it's dedicated to Osiris, which means that probably Mark Antony is buried somewhere in there, and they were reportedly buried together because he had died, and I think she committed suicide by a bug bite or something, and she died. And so
Wow.
reportedly they were buried together.
Okay.
So Romeo and Juliet inspiration here.
A little bit.
Interesting.
So they have discovered tunnels that are under the sea, so under the Mediterranean Sea, along with the temple being dedicated to the goddess Isis. So now the excavations will begin to take place underwater.
Wow. Well, look at that. We got ourselves a national treasure, but not American.
Yeah.
It's still a national treasure. It's just an Egyptian national treasure.
That's true. Good. Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And apparently they found like coins that like depicted Cleopatra and Mark Antony
That's cool.
and stuff like that.
And they said
basically,
gold, so I wonder how much
Yeah.
it's worth. That
yeah, that's crazy. I
Probably
don't
a
know
lot.
if they're like Roman coins or whatever, but I assume they'd probably be Roman because I don't think Egyptians made coins like that.
Well, Cleopatra.
She was the pharaoh of Egypt, but like, is it pharaoh if it's a woman?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're all
Okay, yeah.
pharaoh.
I'm getting my
Okay,
history
cool.
mixed up. Was it the Greeks or the Romans that occupied Egypt at that time?
I thought it was the Romans.
You might be right.
Romans. Yeah, Mark Antony was Roman.
I mentioned Alexander the Great, who was Macedonian, so that's why I was curious.
Yeah, but he was leader of like the Romans.
True. Good point.
So, but yeah. Anyways, cool
Fascinating.
stuff. Could be the find of the century.
Yeah.
I think once they find it, they should just leave it there.
I agree.
Don't take it out. Just leave it there, guys.
You know, the only reason the pyramids are in Egypt right now is because they were too big to take to the British Museum.
I saw that the other day.
I
Yep.
saw that
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Uber.
I think they should
Yeah,
just
I really-
leave it there and let the
Yeah.
Egyptians do what they want with it.
I really hope it doesn't end up in a British museum.
Oh, 100% it will.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Tim,
Very
Tim,
nice.
what you got?
Okay. What is the oldest family member, dead or alive, that you are aware of?
Wait, what?
Like
In my
how-
family?
how far back can you trace your heritage? Like, is there a family member that you know of, or are
I am
All of my
related
grandparents
to
are
Nikola
dead.
you
Tesla.
serious?
Yeah.
I didn't know
Oh.
that.
I
That's
did
cool.
the DNA test, and it like follows like people in your family bloodline that you might be related to, and Nikola Tesla's in mine.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Right.
not like a direct descendant, but like he's pretty far back up there.
Right.
Okay, I thought you were talking about like living people, and I was like, yeah, I got nothing. But yeah, I have no idea. I have not done my research like that.
Yeah, so for mine, I can't name them, but my mom's grandmother's side of the family has like a family tree that goes all the way back to like 1600s, I think. And so
Oh, wow.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but yeah. So anyways, so most people can go back at least a few generations in their family history, and some who take it more seriously can go back even several centuries. But picture being able to trace your ancestry back 5,300 years. This is exactly what was unfolded since Otzi, the Iceman's DNA test revealed 19 surviving male descendants in Austria.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It was initially thought that Otzi, the Iceman, was found by several German tourists in the Alps in 1991, was the frozen corpse of a climber or soldier who perished during the First World War. But later tests revealed the Iceman is actually the oldest natural human mummy found in Europe, who lived around 3300 BC. And it is amazing to note that his body still had complete blood cells that resembled those in modern blood. So
Whoa.
his body, if you look at a picture of it, which you can, it's you can look at it and go, that's a human. You can see skin on him and like see the frostbite and everything because he's just been frozen. Like
Super creepy.
it is.
What was he wearing?
I don't remember.
Are you saying he deserved it?
Oh my God. No. I'm saying because if they've like found it and thought this man lived in World War I, then I'm curious as to, was he wearing clothing? Because then you'd be like, oh, that's not World War I clothing.
Well, in the picture, I don't think he had any clothing on, but I don't know if they took it off
Oh.
or not. So,
He's naked.
probably.
Okay.
That
Naked and
explains why he
afraid.
froze.
Yeah. There's your problem. Scientists were even able to discover that his last supper was red deer and herb bread, along with wheat bran, roots, and fruit, because of how well his body was kept. That's kind of neat there.
That's dope.
Dope. All right, so moving forward, he is the first known person to have Lyme disease, according to the DNA analysis, which has also revealed that he had a significant risk of
Sclerosis.
Thank you. Lactose intolerance and Borrelia, Burgdorferi, some scientific. Thank you. And so, by locating others who had the same genetic mutation as Otzi, researchers were able to identify his relatives. So 19 men with the same ancestry as Otzi have been positively identified by researchers. The people who will be most directly impacted by the unexpected revelation have not yet been informed of it. The researchers have not yet told the 19 males of the finding and is uncertain if they will. But nonetheless, they have discovered 19 people who share his DNA.
That's cool.
Huh.
Or not his DNA, but he's related to.
Because this man was lactose intolerant. I'm just kidding.
I mean, kind of, but yeah, like
all lactose intolerant people descend from a single ancestor.
I mean,
it's me. We're related.
What is? You guys remember? Did I share this before? The really disturbing fact that we're all kind of related.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, essentially, if you did the math, like there should be like, I can't remember exactly how he worded it, but essentially, if you go back far enough, you the population would be too small for it to be what we would need it to be for. Basically, there's a lot of incest going on. Long story short.
Yeah.
A lot of
some more than others.
A lot of incest. Yeah, some more than others. Anyways.
Brits, I'm looking at you.
You said it, not me.
All right, Chris, what you got, brother?
In my normal fashion of being the animal news guy. Right? Vandalism freed thousands of mink at a rural Northwest Ohio farm, leaving an estimated 10,000 small carnivorous mammals unaccounted for.
Minks?
Minks. Yeah.
Could you please describe a mink?
Here, I will pull up a picture for you.
You never seen like a purse of like mink fur or whatever?
Wow.
They're like cute little.
I want to say I have. It's just
they kind of look like little weasels, like ferrets.
Yeah. Okay.
They're the American mink, which these were, can be 1.1 to 3.5 pounds full grown. So
they're so cute.
They're kind of nice. They make very lovely blankets. They're super warm.
It's horrible.
What do you want from me? I grew up with mink blankets. Like, here's what it is.
So sorry.
Yeah. So, these minks were released from a farm in Ohio, and a lot of them actually got killed trying to cross a nearby road.
Oh no!
Like it just imagine a mass of like giant fur ball coming straight at you as you're driving. Like you really can't do much about it.
No.
Except drive through it.
Oh my
Most
God.
people didn't know what it was. So many minks were killed crossing a nearby road that a plow had to be brought in to help clear the carcasses away.
Oh no.
The property owner initially estimated 25,000 to 40,000 minks were released from their cages at a lion farm. He said that employees at the farm were able to corral a lot of them. Most of them remained on property, which is less than 15 miles from the Indiana state line, which means they're probably crossing states now, which makes them illegal as well. He declined to discuss any potential motive for the overnight vandalism or say whether any suspect had been identified as the police investigate. A farm manager told WANE-TV that someone left a spray-painted message with the letters ALF and the phrase, "We'll be back." That stands for the Animal Liberation Front.
Oh my gosh.
Really?
So, like, the extreme PETA people that, like, break into SeaWorld and try to steal the dolphins and, like, release them and stuff like that, that's ALF.
Wow.
Good for them.
I don't know how I
guess.
feel about them. Like, because a lot of times they're doing good, but they don't think about...
Yeah, you can't release a captive like animal like that because it might
Especially
suffer in the wild.
40,000 of them. Like,
Well,
most of them died crossing the street. Like, do you know how... They're like, we got to save these animals, and now 10,000 of them are dead. Like,
Yeah.
It's like, have you seen those videos of people like they've like brought a rabbit back to life after they found it on the road,
and then a hawk picks it up immediately.
Yeah.
Like, be free, little guy. No.
I saw that with like a rat on TikTok or something, and the bird immediately picked it up.
Somebody, like, they nurse it back to health, and they're like taking videos of this thing, like it being very sweet, and it's such a loving animal, and then it just gone immediately, like 10 seconds after they let it go.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's traumatic.
Or it's like the woman who threw a turtle in the water because she thought
It was a tortoise.
or a tortoise, yeah.
Yeah,
She threw a
yeah,
tortoise
yeah,
in the water because she thought it could swim, but tortoises cannot swim. That's turtles.
They are land animals.
There's a difference.
Oh, so sad.
No!
Why isn't it coming up?
Back to the story, though, because it's not done yet. Sheriff's office initially warned residents in the area to be cautious with poultry flocks, small pets, and koi ponds that the mink might attack, but later said that the freed mink are considered domesticated and likely lack the skills to survive in the wild. So not only did the ones
Well, there you
die
go.
crossing the street, but once they get out there,
They're probably
They will
they're
dead.
also
probably
die.
going to die.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like they didn't think about this when they released them.
No.
Sheriff urged people who spot them not to approach them and contact the farm and or trappers for recapturing.
Armed
He said
mink.
residents
Why?
who want to hunt or trap mink must make sure they understand what related rules and exemptions apply in their area.
Wow.
So now, if you want to go mink hunting and make your own blanket, you can absolutely do that. Just make sure you're following the rules.
Make sure you get your license and you're all set to go.
It'd probably be a lot
Oh my
easier there
God.
because they're, like you said, domesticated. It'd be like hunting house cats.
Jeez.
Yeah, it'd probably just come up to you and you'd be like, "Wah!" You know?
Please, sir, help me. And now I have a blanket.
Oh,
That's horrible.
My family and I have been trapped in the woods for days. We haven't
Help
eaten.
us.
Help.
Oh.
Just like snap its tiny little neck.
Oh my God.
So that happened. There you go. That is some news you probably didn't hear about.
No, it is not.
That's definitely something that would happen in Ohio, though.
Right?
Yeah, it sounds like Ohio.
It just doesn't surprise me. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and move into our first break, and then we will come back with our main segment.
All right.
All right, friends, we are back, and we are going to talk about our main segment today, which is weather. Ah,
I am a
Storms.
slut for weather.
This is really weird to hear you say, Chris. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of throwing me off a hair.
Deal with it.
Okay.
I'm a slut for weather. Dwight, you ignorant
love
slut.
that for you. So, first, before we each, basically, the layout for our main segment is going to be a game. We're going to play a little
Ooh.
false game, and I'm hosting it, so Tim and Chris are going to have to answer. And then each of us chose two types of weather that we find more like extreme types of weather that we find to be interesting, and we're going to talk about them, describe them, blah, 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 blah. Right?
Yeah. And I would like to point out that Chris stole the two coolest ones off the bat. So
I
Literally.
stole them.
yeah,
I called dibs on them.
you stole them.
Do we call it stealing if I find it first
Yes.
and I call it?
That's how the British did it.
Kind of sounds like
No,
colonialism.
no. They took from people that already had the things. This was an open concept.
Fine.
Whatever. Okay, so first, it's true and false.
Yeah.
Got
So
it.
I'm going to ask a thing or say a statement, and you're going to tell me whether you think it's true or false.
Okay.
Number one, lightning never strikes the same place twice.
False.
You guys are correct. Lightning can definitely strike the same place twice. Obviously, in New York City with tall buildings,
Yeah, they get
it's
struck all the
definitely
time.
going to strike the same place twice.
That's what they're made for.
There's a guy that was struck by lightning like 6 times.
Oh.
Jesus.
Yeah, God
feel
does
like I
not
knew
like
that.
him.
The Empire State Building is one of the many tall buildings, obviously, in New York City, and it is struck by lightning about 25 times per year on average.
That's insane.
That's what the spire's for.
Ah, smart. Okay. Number two, being out in the cold air causes sickness.
False.
I mean, it leads up to sickness, but it is
False.
not self. I'm gonna say false since we have to do yes or no, but
You both are correct.
Yeah.
Um,
No.
It basically
I need
says-
you to tell my immigrant family that. Because
no, my
any-
dad would never let me go play outside when it was cold.
Yeah. If I take Ellie from the car to the house and I don't have her wrapped in a blanket, they're like, "Where's that girl's blanket? Why doesn't she have a coat?" Like she's
gonna get sick.
It's right there.
Yeah. Basically, you need to be exposed to a virus or a bacteria in order to get sick.
Right.
However, more people do tend to get sick more frequently in the wintertime. And the reason is that it's probably because being in close quarters with other people who may be sick and not know it, the dry air and then going inside a heated place can dry out your nasal passages, which can cause you to become sick or increase what is it called? Susceptibility to infection. Just like little things like that. It's a variety of things, but being outside in the cold air itself does not cause
The
sickness.
cold air does not do it.
No. Interesting.
Correct. So, next up.
2 for 2.
Yeah, you both are pretty good. Flash flooding only happens near rivers and streams.
False.
Why are you guys so good at this? Were you guys just looking at my freaking quiz? Anyways,
You
that
didn't
is
post your
correct.
quiz. I just know a
flooding
lot about
can-
weather. I told you, I'm a slut for weather.
Yeah, true. Flooding can literally occur anywhere. As we have seen back where where you guys still live and where I used to live, it would happen everywhere, all the time, because of terrible, like, what is called drainage systems. Sometimes when soil gets too, like, wet or whatever the word is, it will just flood because it cannot continue to absorb water.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's gonna happen.
Flash flood's going flash flood.
How do you guys feel about the word moist, by the way?
I don't mind it.
I don't mind it either.
Okay.
I know a few people that are like super anti-moist.
And that's why I'm saying it right now. Moist.
It doesn't bother me.
Okay.
No. I think when it's purposely tried to be made sensual, it makes me uncomfortable because I'm like, why? But if somebody just says it, I'm just like,
That's the
okay,
word,
cool.
moist.
Like cake.
Yeah, like
You know?
this cake is moist.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Right, Tim. Thank you for that. Next up.
Gross.
If a car in front of you is able to drive through a flooded roadway, it's also safe for you to do so.
False. Are these all false?
Correct. No, they're not all false, but that is correct. Please do not drive through flooded roadways just because the truck or somehow a tiny little Fiat in front of you is able to do so.
Yeah, I've loved watching those videos on Reddit where people are like, I think I can make that. And the narrator,
And then they get
no,
stuck.
they cannot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some people's kids. Okay. Number 5. Whoa, not chickens. Crickets chirp frequency can tell you about the air temperature.
True.
Can y'all stop?
No.
Lived in the South. Yeah.
Good point. Okay, so that is true. Crickets are cold-blooded, and you will not hear them chirping when the temperature is below about 55 degrees. To estimate the air temperature, count the number of chirps you hear in 15 seconds, and then add 37.
I didn't know there was actually math to it.
Yeah, I didn't know about the math.
Yes, there's math to it. There's math to everything.
Cool.
Fascinating.
Number 6. Raindrops are shaped like teardrops.
False.
Just because I want to keep the record clean. False.
Oh my God. Yes, you both are
I wasn't
correct.
sure. I wasn't sure if it was a trick question or not.
Due to surface tension and the action of gravity on a falling drop, raindrops are actually shaped more like a hamburger bun
I knew that.
than a teardrop.
Yep.
That's funny.
Isn't that so cute? Little hamburger bun drops.
You ever seen Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs?
I wonder if that's where it
The
came
best weather film of all time.
100%.
Number 7. Clouds don't weigh anything.
False.
from. False.
Clouds are like
That is
hella heavy.
Anything
that
has
is
mass.
correct. They weigh a lot. Usually 1.1 million pounds if there's water, or they are water. So yeah, they weigh a lot, lots of pounds. You both got that right. Did I mark that? Number 8. You can tell how far away a lightning strike was by counting the time between the flash and when you hear thunder.
True. I'm going to say true, but like I feel like this might be a trick. Like it's just, I don't know. It could be math. Go ahead. I say true.
You absolutely can, but I think the way that we were taught as kids is wrong.
Okay. Yeah. Good point. True.
Both say true?
Yeah.
Yep.
That is correct. To estimate how far away a lightning strike is, count the number of seconds between the flash when you see the lightning and then the bang when you hear the thunder. Divide this number by 5, and that tells you how many miles away the strike was.
That's
Yeah,
it. The division was the part that I wasn't taught as a kid.
Right.
Like you see the flash and you count 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Boom. It's 3 miles away.
Yes.
But that's not right.
Remember that if you can hear thunder, you are close enough to get struck by lightning. So please seek shelter.
Good to know. Oh, by the way, before we move on, have you guys seen that video on TikTok where this woman is taking, is it her cat out on a hike? And she's like doing like a selfie. She's like, all right, here we go. And then her hair raises up. And she's like,
Yeah.
oh shit. And basically, it's like a sign that you are like electrically charged, or I don't know what the science is behind it. But Hank Green's like, yeah, she did the right thing and like found shelter in her car and
Run.
everything. Yeah, run. Like, get out of
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Go somewhere, anywhere, not there.
Because I think the video of her at first was her being like, oh, look at my hair. Oh, my God, look at my hair.
Yeah.
And then like took off running, holding her cat.
Yeah.
And her cat was just kind of like flailing around. I have 2 more questions.
Okay.
Number 9. Working out in cold weather makes you burn calories faster.
I'm going to say your muscles contract more, but you don't sweat as much. Let's come out with a 3, 2, 1. Give our answer.
I don't know which one I think.
3, 2, 1.
True.
False. Ooh.
Chris, you said true?
Yep.
You are correct.
No. Darn
This
it.
is true, but obviously you still need to be careful working out in the cold because as it turns out, your body has to work harder to warm you up when
That
it's
makes
cold outside,
sense.
which
That's
in
what I was
turn
thinking.
burns more calories.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I
man.
was thinking.
I should have
Because
known.
calories are literally just the ability to keep you warm.
That's a good point. Darn it.
Last but certainly not least, oh, this is definitely the last one, but we'll get into more weather things in a second. At any given time, there are approximately 2,000 thunderstorms occurring around the world.
True.
I feel like there's more than that. So I'm going to hedge my bet here because otherwise I'm going to lose if I don't. False.
Chris, you are correct.
Yeah.
That's really it. At any given time, there are about this many thunderstorms happening somewhere on the earth.
I had
So-
to redeem myself from the soccer game last week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very good. Okay,
Good
cool.
job,
Yeah, that's my
Chris.
little quiz.
Thanks.
He's a slut for weather.
I am. I got all of them right. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
Okay.
I told
All right,
you.
guys. So now we are going to go into our 2 forms of weather that we chose to speak about today. Tim, start us off.
All right. My first one today are sandstorms or dust storms.
Those ones are crazy.
Yeah, they're intense. You guys ever watch the movie Hidalgo?
Yeah.
That one, like, it didn't scar me, but it forever imprinted in my brain, like, just how crazy sandstorms are. Have you seen that film, Harley?
No.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
about a horse in the desert.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it's a big race, and there's a man.
And it's about a horse in the desert.
there's a man.
The guy who plays Aragorn, I can't remember his name.
Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah, he's in it. I liked it at the time, but I don't know how I like it now. But anyways,
It's been a minute since I've seen it. Yeah.
it's been a while. It's one of those childhood films that you haven't really watched in a long time.
Yeah, don't plan to either.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so sand and dust storms are typical meteorological dangers in an arid and semi-arid environments. They are typically brought on by thunderstorms or by cyclone-related significant pressure gradients that boost wind speed over a larger region. Large volumes of sand and dust are lifted into the atmosphere by these powerful winds from bare, dry soils, where they are carried hundreds to thousands of kilometers distant. The lower layer of the Earth's atmosphere, the troposphere, contains 40% of its aerosols as wind-eroded dust.
Wow.
Yeah, the dust storms can be carried by enormous mile-long clouds. They may reach heights of more than 10,000 feet and have winds that are at least 25 miles per hour in speed. Estimates of the annual global emissions of dust, primarily based on computer models, range between 1 and 3 gigatons, like dust in the air. All right, last little thing. When dust is liberated from the surface, convection updrafts and turbulent mixing propel it to higher altitudes of the troposphere. Depending on their size and the circumstances, they may then be carried by winds for a while before being dragged back down to the surface. So during travel, there is a trend towards being smaller particle size because bigger particle sediments more quickly, dissolve and fall down than smaller ones. Precipitation also removes dust from the sky. For dust particles greater than 10 millimeters in diameter, the typical lifespan of the atmosphere is a few hours. For micrometric dust particles, it is more than 10 days.
You went way more into detail on your notes than I did on mine.
Well, that's because I'm dedicated. So, impacts. Mr. Weatherman.
Damn.
Impacts. So, both continental and marine ecosystems can obtain micronutrients from surface dust deposition. Dust transports of iron and phosphorus are known to help marine biomass production in areas of the ocean suffering from a scarcity of these elements, and is believed that the Saharan dust fertilizes the Amazon rainforest.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. However, dust also has a number of detrimental effects on the agriculture, including as lowering crop yields by burying seedlings, causing plant tissue loss, lowering the photosynthetic activity, and accelerating soil erosion. All right, and last little thing about sandstorms, the history. The Southern Plains area of the United States, which experienced significant dust storms during a drought in the 1930s, was known as the Dust Bowl. People and cattle... Yay?
I just thought it's like
No,
such an
Harley,
interesting
this is
period of
boo,
history.
This is bad.
Sorry.
People and cattle perished. Crops failed, and the area from Texas to Nebraska was swept by, I think you're in there somewhere in Kansas, swept by fierce winds and suffocated dust. The Dust Bowl
Exacerbated.
Thank you. The Great Depression's crippling economic effects and forced many agricultural families to flee in a last-ditch effort to find jobs and better living circumstances. And my last thing, sandstorms that were causing issues in Australia, according to reports, cost Australians $20 million a year in medical expenses due to asthma and respiratory conditions that are considered to be brought on by the sandstorms.
That's insane.
That is insane.
Sandstorms are they're not always fun.
Where do they usually take place? Is it just like random? I assume mostly in deserts, of course.
There's loose soil where there's loose, sand and everything. So
lots of wind.
Yeah, and that's like I didn't go into the whole history of it, but that's why the whole Dust Bowl happened, is because there was over agriculture, like people didn't take care of the land the way they should have, and so because
Also, if you have a ground type Pokemon that is at least level 25, Sandstorm becomes an option. And it creates... I'm just kidding.
God.
Not only is he a slut for weather, he's a slut for Pokemon.
Oh, I don't like
no,
that.
there's people out there that are. I'm not in that camp.
Okay.
That's a very different kind of thing.
Right.
Am I moving on to my second one, or are
Yeah,
we taking turns?
let's move on. Let's go.
You go ahead.
Okay. My next one was hurricanes.
Wow.
Hurricanes. All right.
Crazy, scary stuff.
They are. Hurricanes are colossal turbulent storms. They generate winds that reach at least 74 miles per hour or faster. The name hurricane is derived from what is that word? How do you pronounce that? Taino?
Taino.
Thank you. Word, I'm assuming hurricane or hurricane, something along those lines. Which refers to the wind's evil spirit. It's a native term. Indigenous term. A heated ocean surface is where oceans originate. When making landfall, a wall of ocean water is pushed onshore as a hurricane hits land. Storm surge is the term used to describe the water wall. Flooding may result from persistent rain and a hurricane storm surge. Okay, so in case you didn't know, there are categories to hurricanes. There's 5 of them. Number 1 is winds between 74 to 95 miles per hour. That's as fast as a cheetah. Now, I wanted to say...
Faster even.
Yeah, I want to say this because just imagine something going that fast and hitting you in the face.
Yeah.
So
Not a fan.
That's why I'm mentioning these, like how fast it is.
That would clock you out instantly, probably.
Yeah. Category 2, 96 to 110 miles per hour, as fast or faster than a baseball pitcher's fastball.
I'm sorry.
Oh, maybe not. Maybe
s-
this would clock you out.
Have you seen the videos of like weather people in hurricanes and like a stop sign just
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, I hope they get paid extra for that shit. Category
workers' comp,
3.
man.
Category 3, winds between 111 and 129 miles per hour, similar or close to the serving speed of many professional tennis players.
Whoa.
Category 4, winds between 130 and 156 miles per hour, faster than the world's fastest roller coaster. And Category 5, winds more than 157 miles per hour, similar or close to the speed of some high-speed trains. Yeah,
That is terrifying.
extremely terrifying.
Imagine getting hit by a train.
In a hurricane?
I mean,
Or
if you're
just in
outside,
general?
yeah,
if
even
you're
worse.
outside in a category
Both.
5, it's probably
Something's gonna hit you.
It's gonna hit you that hard.
Something's
yeah.
gonna hit you.
Some gonna hit you. Okay.
Okay, so here are some parts of the hurricane. Of course, one of the most popular parts is the eye. The eye is the hole at the center of the storm. Winds are light in this area, and the sky is occasionally clear and perhaps even partially just a little overcast.
It's so pretty.
The eye wall is it's the ring of thunderstorms surrounding the eye. Those storms swirl around the eye. The wall is where the winds and the rains are the most intense. And
It's so pretty.
it is. And rain bands, far from the hurricane's eye wall, bands of clouds and rain can be seen. These bands are several miles long. They contain the thunderstorms and sometimes tornadoes.
It's so
Whoa.
Yeah,
Chris,
does
no, it's not.
does your weather have weather within the weather?
pretty. Yes.
I don't think so.
You want to bet?
Here are some fun facts about
Wow.
hurricanes. A huge hurricane can release energy equivalent of 10 atomic bombs per second.
What?
Hey, you remember that time President Trump tried to nuke a hurricane? I just think that's funny.
Jesus.
You know where he got the idea for that? Sharknado.
Oh my God.
Stop.
Moving along, hurricanes can produce mild tornadoes, which can last up to a few minutes. Hurricanes in the Pacific Ocean are known as typhoons. In the Indian Ocean, they are typically known as tropical cyclones. And the year 1933 had the most named storms on record with 21. In 2005, that record was broken.
21.
Can you do something for me?
I knew it was coming. In 2005, that record was broken with the National Hurricane Center identified 28 storms. So now 33 is the second, and 95 is the third with 19 tropical storms. And lastly, but not least, the names of the costliest hurricanes include Katrina, Maria, Irma, Harvey, Sandy, and Andrew.
Wow.
I've been alive for all of those.
Have I been alive for all of those?
When was Andrew?
Yeah, when was Andrew?
Isn't that the one that hit New York?
I don't know.
What?
I didn't look up the history of it. Anyways, that's my stuff.
Moving on.
Crazy. Okay, so I will now be talking about tornadoes, which we just briefly kind of mentioned. I decided to choose tornadoes because I moved to an area which has tornadoes sometimes,
The only thing it's known for.
which I will explain later that is not, but we'll get into that in a second.
Wait,
So-
Harley, before we move on, because this is important to this question and also now to your current home state. Have you ever seen the movie Twister?
No.
Okay. I feel like I don't think you're qualified for this category.
Whoa!
I'll take over from here. So, in the movie Twister,
Just because you've seen a movie doesn't
Helen
mean
Hunt.
no. I am in a relationship with somebody who has seen a tornado right down the road from him. So,
I lived
Take
through
that.
tornadoes.
shh. Let me have this, okay?
All right.
I'm sorry.
You
Go
can
ahead.
have it.
Okay, thank you. This is very not a women's ally of y'all.
Ooh, yeah, no, you're right. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Tornadoes. What they are. So basically, it's a violently rotating column of air in contact with the ground and usually attached to the base of a cumulonimbus cloud, or essentially a thunderstorm. Tornadoes are considered one of nature's most violent storms. Spawned from powerful thunderstorms, tornadoes can cause fatalities and devastate a neighborhood in seconds. Winds of a tornado may reach 300 miles per hour. Damage paths can be in an excess of 1 mile wide and 50 miles long.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Hail is very commonly found very close to the tornadoes, as the strongest thunderstorms that spawn tornadoes are formed under the atmospheric conditions that are also highly likely to make hail, and every state is at some risk of this hazard. Every single one of them. So, some tornadoes are clearly visible. Obviously, if you see a tornado and it's not moving, that means it's probably coming at you. So get out of the way.
Go.
Yeah, straight for you.
Move.
Go horizontal.
Serpentine.
While
serpentine.
Yeah. While rain or nearby low-hanging clouds can obscure other tornadoes. Tornadoes develop super rapidly, and they also may dissipate just as quickly. Like, they'll just be like, and gone. That's it. It can happen that fast.
It happens to a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Bro.
Most tornadoes are on the ground for less than 15 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. So not very long, and they can do a whole bunch of damage. So before a tornado hits, this is like how you know you're probably about to like experience a tornado, because it gets super quiet. So they basically say the wind is probably going to die down and the air is going to become super still. A cloud of debris can mark the location of a tornado, even if the funnel of it isn't visible. So you can see it probably like starting to like form-ish. And it's also not uncommon to see clear sunlit skies behind a tornado. So like as a tornado's happening, you'll see like a pretty sky. Like as Chris said earlier, oh, so beautiful.
So
It's really pretty.
Yeah, there we go. And then the enhanced, I don't know if it's pronounced Fujita scale or EF scale, is a rating of how strong a tornado was. So past tense. It's calculated by surveying the damage and comparing it with damage to similar objects at certain wind speeds. The EF scale is not meant to be used to measure how strong a tornado currently is on the ground.
Is there a scale for that?
I don't know.
See, if you would have watched Twister, you would have known.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
Ooh.
Sorry,
Is
I'm
it
done.
real?
I'm done.
Wow, so rude to me.
I know. I'm sorry.
Impacts of tornadoes. So extremely high winds can tear homes and businesses apart. Winds can also destroy bridges, flip trains, send cars and trucks flying, tear the bark off of trees, and suck all of the water from a riverbed.
Wow.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
So therefore, now you got a freaking whirlwind of water
Cyclone.
coming
So a
at you.
hurricane.
Yeah. Oh, a land hurricane. High winds sometimes kill or injure people by rolling them along the ground or dropping them from dangerous heights, which is horrifying.
It is.
I mostly envision like a cow.
Yeah,
Getting, like,
the whole Wizard of Oz.
That was in Twister.
Was it?
Yeah, the cow swinging around the tornado. That was from Twister.
I guess you're right.
I thought it was also in Wizard of Oz.
Could be both.
Not a cow.
Both of Kansas. Wait, is Twister in Kansas or is it Texas? Or Oklahoma? It's one of those states.
Probably Oklahoma. Okay, history. The first possible tornado report in the United States occurred in July 1643 in Lynn, Newbury, and Hampton, Massachusetts, documented by David Ludlam.
Here's the question I want an answer to, because I don't know this. Do tornadoes happen in like Europe and stuff? I've never heard of that before. Like thinking about it now.
I
Like, did
don't
people
know.
Like, did like Europeans come here and like, what the is this? And just like,
I'm gonna say yeah,
this act of God.
because
We
I
can
don't
knock down our false idols and recognize.
I feel like the what is it called? The landscape
Yeah.
in Europe is not conditioned. I mean, it could be. I think it
Right.
very well could be, but I don't know.
I've never heard of a tornado in Italy or something. I mean, I could be
Yeah.
completely wrong. I just don't know. But yeah.
I
Anyway.
feel like it happened like in Germany or like Poland or something.
Okay. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. It was just a random thought.
Oklahoma, by the way. Twister was shot in Oklahoma.
There you go.
I was right, and I haven't even seen the movie. Take that. Anyways, from 1916 through 1998, about 45,000 tornadoes were documented in the United States. From 1916 to 1953, approximately 158 tornadoes were reported per year.
Wow.
After 1953, the beginning of the modern period of tornado documentation, the number of reports rose to more than 800 per year.
Jesus.
But climate change
crazy?
isn't real.
Right. So that concludes tornadoes.
Very nice.
Now I'm going to talk about what I find crazy and that we don't really experience here, is tsunamis.
Ooh, I like this one. Well, I mean, I don't
Those are
like the
crazy.
effects of it, but the science behind it
yeah.
is cool.
So basically what they are is a tsunami is a series of waves in a water body caused by the displacement of a large volume of water, generally in an ocean or a large lake. Earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and other underwater explosions above or below water all have the potential to generate a tsunami. Most tsunamis, about 80%, happen within the Pacific Ocean's Ring of Fire,
That makes
a
sense.
geologically active area where tectonic shifts make volcanoes and earthquakes common.
The Ring of Fire.
Ring of Fire. There's a Johnny Cash song about that.
Yes, there is.
There's also a Finding Nemo quote about that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Look at you pulling out Pixar on the pod.
So smart. Tsunamis race across the sea at up to 500 miles an hour.
That's crazy.
About as fast as a jet airplane. At that pace, they can cross the entire expanse of the Pacific Ocean in less than a day. And their long wavelengths mean they lose very little energy along the way.
Wow.
So they're just super dangerous, just
Yeah.
overall, and like ruthless.
Is that just because of the nature of waves in general? Like waves
Probably.
because of how they carry energy, it just keeps going.
Yeah. And, you know, with the moon and all that, I assume once it gets a big wave going, it's very hard to have it stop.
Right.
Impacts. A tsunami can kill or injure people and damage or destroy buildings and infrastructure as waves come in and go out. They cause flooding and disrupt transportation, power, communications, and the water supply. And if you've I'm sure everybody's seen at least one video of like a tsunami,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the flooding and like the way things move on land is just horrifying to me for some
Right.
reason. Historically, in Earth's ancient past, they were most often started by the impact of a large meteorite plunging into the ocean. So that's usually how a tsunami occurred. And then the oldest recorded tsunami occurred in 479 BC. It destroyed a Persian army that was attacking the town of, I believe it's pronounced Potidaea in Greece.
Yeah, isn't that was it before or after? But didn't Xerxes try to stab the water because he was mad at Poseidon and wasn't this the event?
I don't know if that was the event, but that is a thing.
Right.
Like somebody was trying to beat up the ocean, like they were trying to.
How dare
And
you?
he said, tsunami.
Kind of reminds me of the time Tim tried to fight a hurricane.
So you guys know, in case you didn't know this is actually good public safety information here. If you're on the beach and you see water recede off the beach, more than normal, and especially for a long period of
drastic.
time, get out. Go. That's a sign of a tsunami
You
coming your
you
way.
need to get to higher
Yeah.
ground,
Yeah.
higher, much higher, stable.
Elevation. Yeah.
Just get
Yeah.
out. Just go.
Go. Find something.
Isn't it so crazy how there's certain warning signs? Obviously with the tornado, it was if it gets really quiet.
Yeah.
And then with tsunamis, it's the
the
water
water
receding
leaves.
drastically. And you're just oh.
And isn't it interesting? I'm sure there's a science behind this, but most of those signs are usually involving some kind of quiet moment. Like hurricanes, you have
Yeah.
Calm
silent
before the
seas.
storm.
Yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
calm winds in a tornado, the receding of the waves with a tsunami. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. Terrifying.
Indeed, nature is out to get us.
It's
I'm not
always
used
out
to the
get us.
quiet.
One of my favorite things about I'm on writers TikTok and they do writing prompts all the time that I really love. One of my favorite tropes is that humans don't understand how absolutely terrifying we are to aliens. Our planet is just
Oh.
meant to kill us, and yet we thrive. We breathe oxygen that slowly kills us, yet we thrive. We live on coastal cities knowing that the ocean can kill us, and yet we thrive. It's pretty cool.
Interesting.
The aliens are what the fuck is going on here?
What do you-
We
what
ain't
do you
coming
mean
to
you're-
visit you?
What do you mean your temperatures go from 140 to negative 60?
Yeah.
That that doesn't compute. Like, I just think it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite tropes.
Wow.
All right. So, jumping into my weather, as they said, I picked the two coolest in my opinion.
And I see the 2 notes that you have on here.
Hey. All right. I'm going to start with lightning storms.
Get your bigger one out of the way.
No, I have more notes on the other one. It's just
Sure.
it's on my phone, not on the no thing. So, anyways, lightning storms, also known as thunderstorms, can be electrical storms of lightning and or just thunder. It's a storm categorized by the presence of lightning and its acoustic effect on the Earth's atmosphere. Relatively weak thunderstorms are sometimes called thunder showers. So basically what happens is, with or without rain, my favorite is when there is no rain. You can see lightning and you can hear thunder.
Yeah.
Which obviously, as Harley said, if you can hear thunder, you're close enough to be struck. So, be safe.
Get out of there.
I've always thought it was really beautiful to just like sit outside during a thunderstorm and just kind of watch the sky, kind of see lightning,
Yeah.
trailing across, or just the big flashes. Those are like my favorites.
You kind of lived in a place to do this, but I remember when I lived in, like, as a kid in Buffalo, it was basically ranch, and we would have those kind of storms come by every once in a while where you can see it in the distance, like these clouds just slowly going over, but you'd hear the thunder.
It's my absolute favorite weather.
Yeah.
I love it. So, as warm air rises, it cools and condenses, forming small droplets of water. If there is enough instability in the air, the updraft of warm air is rapid and the water vapor will quickly form a cumulonimbus cloud, which, again, as Harley said, is the thunderstorm cloud. Typically, these cumulonimbus clouds can form in under an hour, which is really cool. Cause like sometimes you're just like chilling outside, you're working or you're doing whatever, and all of a sudden you can see like this weather phenomena start happening where these clouds form and then lightning and thunder, and it's just like a very sudden thing, especially here in Texas.
Yeah.
In the early stages of development, air acts as an insulator between the positive and negative charges in the cloud and between the cloud and the ground. When the opposite charges build up enough, the insulating capacity of the air breaks down and there is a rapid discharge of electricity known as lightning. So that's always been a really big question for me, is like, what causes lightning? And I've never really known what causes thunder. A lot of times people are like, oh, it's when the clouds smash into each other, or it's God playing bowling or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
that's what I was told.
what actually happens is that lightning, because it happens first, as you mentioned, when you see lightning, you can count the different seconds until the thunder because it's the sound following the light. But thunder is what happens when the lightning supercharges the air and it contracts really quickly after it cools back down.
Like a rubber band.
Yeah. So if you've ever like stretched out a rubber band and just let it go and you hear that snap, that's thunder. But it's with air, not rubber bands.
Oh, would you look at that?
Yeah. Super cool, right? Looking at the impact of lightning storms, the best ones are just beautiful to watch. The worst ones can cause lots of damage, shutting down infrastructure, blowing up power plants, things like that. One of the worst lightning storms on record actually started the 1988 forest fires in the Pacific West. Started in Oregon and California. All that stuff was caused by lightning.
Wow.
The oldest and worst lightning strikes ever recorded, though, happened in the town of Brescia, Italy. Help me out with that, Tim. Brescia. You got to do the hand thing. In 1769, a church was being used as a battery to store approximately 100 tons of gunpowder. The church took a direct hit of lightning, and all of the gunpowder caught on fire and exploded.
That is not what I was expecting out of this
After
story.
all of the dust settled, nearly a sixth of the entire city was destroyed, and nearly 3,000 people were killed.
Oh, God.
Dude.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, you have, like, something was happening at that church that God was like, nah, not anymore.
God.
Like, this whole town needs to go.
Wow. Jesus.
How dare you store all of this deadly stuff?
3,000 people.
Whoops.
Jesus.
Y'all gonna learn today.
For real.
Which, I mean, yeah, obviously it's really sad. 3,000 people died, but like, how insane is that? Like,
Yeah.
lightning just.
Yeah. And
Somebody
just
was
lit
like,
it
we're
up.
gonna put this gunpowder here,
God,
and it's going to be a good idea.
Well,
And then
isn't like
immediately
gunpowder like magnetic of some kind?
Yeah, it's
Right.
metallic. I don't know if it's magnetic, but it's definitely metallic.
I'm sure that's probably obviously what drew the lightning to it and was just like, whoops.
Yeah.
That and the church, in that time, churches are typically the biggest buildings in the town.
Yeah.
So, like,
I wonder if it had a spike.
probably had a spike on it and got struck by lightning.
Interesting.
So, fun stuff.
Boom.
Like I said, though, the best ones
is
are
fun.
just really pretty. You can watch them in the sky. Those are my favorites. Now, moving on to my second one, which is probably the coolest weather out there.
Which I think you cheated.
I did not cheat. It's weather. Look it up. Matter of fact, I'll include a link in the notes. Space weather. Fake news. No, space weather is probably the coolest weather that affects Earth. Conditions in the region of space close to Earth, especially the presence of electromagnetic radiation and charged particles emitted by the sun that can affect human activity and technology. That's what's known as space weather. Like I said, I have
Can
my
you give us
my
some
notes.
descriptions?
I can, because there are multiple types of space weather. Space weather is an umbrella term used for the constantly changing conditions in space caused by our violently raging star. Star causes sun flares, coronal mass ejections, geomagnetic storms, solar winds that affect Earth, all kinds of cool stuff. So starting with solar winds, the sun's magnetic field carries rain-like particles of solar plasma called solar wind, and it is the main part of solar weather.
That's so
Solar
wild.
wind is controlled by the sun's solar wind is controlled by the sun's plasma and is therefore very varying. Very varying.
Wow.
It
yeah.
varies a lot. It causes the magnetic fields to get into magnetic knots, which cause huge amounts of energy to get pent up. And then when those knots break, the energy from the plasma is released into space and solar storms are formed. Solar storms, also known as solar flares, are a type of solar storm caused by tangling and crossing the magnetic field. So I'm sure you guys have seen like the archways of plasma on
Yeah.
the sun when you're like looking through a telescope or something. Those are solar flares. There are multiple types of solar flares, one of which is known as a coronal mass ejection, CME, and here millions or billions of tons of plasma are ripped from the sun in a ball-like shape. They go up to 9 million kilometers per hour. When either of these solar storms hit Earth, nothing happens.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like you would
Oh.
expect, like they're coming 9 million kilometers an hour. It's plasma coming straight at us, but nothing really happens. But that's only because Earth has its own magnetic field, which protects us, and it kind of serves as a shield against most solar weather.
Mother Nature giveth and Mother Nature taketh away.
Yeah, there you go. It's like, hey,
She says, I'll cause my own weather on here. I don't
I
need any
got
more of
this.
it.
I don't need your help, Helios. Soul, whatever you want to call it. So there are also other types that are a lot less dangerous sounding, like auroras. I'm sure you guys have seen the aurora borealis.
Oh, yeah.
Auroras are glows in the atmosphere caused by coronal mass ejection deflected by Earth's magnetic field. So when Mother Nature protects us, she also gives us a pretty show to look at.
Thanks.
Here, the energy from the solar storm goes to the north and south poles because of the magnetic field, and this is why it's mainly visible in the north and in the south.
well,
So
there
the
you go.
further north you go, the more you can see. Further south you go, the more you can see. But like right on the equator, you got nothing.
Huh,
Fascinating.
pretty cool.
There are also geomagnetic storms. Some solar storms, though, are more like hurricanes, just in space. How cool is that?
Oh,
they're
that's
more like
terrifying.
hurricanes.
Yeah.
These are what we call solar superstorms and geomagnetic storms. Geomagnetic storms are quite rare and happen once or twice every century. They can be noticed before the actual storm. Again, the calm before the storm. They can be noticed before the actual storm with strong solar flares a few days before the actual storm itself. The storm consists of a huge CME consisting of billions of tons of magnetic plasma reaching Earth in less than a day. So they're going pretty freaking fast. This storm causes for a shock wave to hit Earth, which compress our magnetic field. So that is where it can affect us. It's not like a giant plasma ball hitting Earth, but it can affect our magnetic field. Sun's corona has a temperature of 1 to 2 million degrees Kelvin, and this heat is what creates the plasma that the sun casts off. Sorry, I wrote these notes weird. Plasma is controlled by the sun's magnetic field, but is also what creates the magnetic field of the sun itself and Earth. The electricity from the electrically charged protons and electrons from the magnetic field as they flow, and then the magnetic field from the flow from the plasma. There we go. I really need to rewrite my notes. I'm sorry, guys. So this is a loop called a dynamo, and that's what keeps the sun's magnetic field alive.
Oh.
Solar weather we experience on Earth caused by our sun can impact us in weird ways. Mostly, space weather can affect different technologies on Earth due to strong X-rays that solar flares can produce. Yeah. Strong X-rays block or degrade high-frequency radio communications on high latitudes. So essentially, it messes with communications, with radio signals, with anything that's based on radios. If you have a microwave running and we get hit by a solar flare, it can affect your microwave, kind of either spike it or turn it off, weirdly enough. Microwaves have exploded in the past due to things like that.
Wow.
Huh.
So that's how it affects us. Space weather. Also, some history of space weather I have here for you. Sorry, I brought that
Got
up.
a little
on
jingle.
Google.
Chris, get on that.
Space
Hurry.
I'm going to do it. Space weather, space weather, space weather. It's the weather in space.
Very good.
Very good.
That was right off the dome. All right, so 13.4 billion years ago, the universe formed with hydrogen and helium, the basic elements of our sun. 12.5 billion years ago, formation of the Milky Way galaxy. 4.54 billion years ago, Earth was formed. Sun stabilizes as a star with only 70% current brightness 4.4 billion years ago. Fast forwarding a little bit. 2 Chinese astrologers beheaded because they failed to predict a solar eclipse in 2134 BC.
Oh, wow.
What?
Yeah.
You skipped some years
I
there.
told you I was going forward.
Flash forward
1375
real quick.
BC, first solar eclipse recorded in Babylon.
Oh.
1111 BC, first naked eye solar flares possibly sighted by the Chinese. 37 AD, Julius Caesar sends troops to pursue an aurora seen in the north because they didn't know what it was. And he's like, go catch that. Which you got to imagine is like hilarious. They're like, sir, we can't. It's like up there. Our arrows can't reach it. 925 AD, report of naked eye sunspots by the Chinese. Report of naked eye sunspots by Chinese again in 1138 AD. North England auroral sighting mentioned in Holinshed's Chronicle in 1235 AD. Fast forwarding a little bit, 1856, Edward Sabine discovers aurora connected to sunspot cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Elias Loomis maps out the aurora oval zone on Earth in 1860. Fast forwarding a little bit more because a lot of this stuff is not super interesting. L. Bierman in 1951 discovers solar wind using comet tails. A shortwave blackout over the North Atlantic on March 29th in 1959. 1961, the Fantastic Four get their superpowers. So that was cool.
Oh, my God.
From solar.
Yeah, from a solar storm. And November 11th, 2003, solar flare reproduced under laboratory conditions, meaning we can now do it on Earth, which is terrifying.
Yay.
Sounds like a bad idea, especially when it's considered
Oh,
solar.
yeah, 100% it's a bad idea. But, you
Not
know,
Earth. It's
science.
solar. Yeah.
Is it really considered solar if we can do it on Earth now?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, that makes no sense.
Like, I know it's the same thing. Like, it's the plasma, it's the magnetism, it's all of that, but it's on Earth. So is it really solar anymore?
It's no longer solar. It's Earth flare.
Earth flare.
Terraflare.
Oh, nice.
I like that. Well,
Cool.
man, I just found a new superpower name. Like, if I got fire superpowers, I'd call myself Terraflare.
Terraflare.
I like it.
I did.
Just name that your Dungeons and Dragons character.
If we play.
I would have to play Dungeons and Dragons first.
That's a good
Which,
point.
I mean, I'm not super far from it. I tried once, didn't work out because of the people I was involved with. Like, that guy was really mean to me. It's really nice to Janelle, really mean to me when I ask questions. But maybe I'll try it again in the future. Who knows?
Cool.
Sorry.
So yeah, space weather. There you go.
Very nice.
Space weather, go space weather.
It's a weather in space.
All right, guys. That concludes our main segment on weather. Crazy, all kinds of different types of weather that were also somehow all correlated with one another.
Yeah.
I think all weather like can tie to other weather. Like, you know, you have a giant earthquake, it causes a tsunami.
It's like the butterfly effect.
It can cause a hurricane, which can in turn cause a tornado, which can in turn cause lightning storms. It's all crazy stuff. It's all linked somehow.
And then somehow you get a solar flare thrown in there. Yeah. And then all of our
that's what causes
microwaves are
the
out.
earthquake.
We're all connected.
Yeah. Last but certainly not least, if you guys want to, we also have a link in our notes that talks about the 9 rare, like most rare types of weather phenomenon, which include like volcanic lightning and then white rainbows and crazy stuff like that. So if you want to check that out, feel free, or you can just look it up on the interwebs. Cool. But that concludes our main segment. We will now be moving into another break and going into fan questions.
Woo!
Ooh, 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 ooh.
Thank you all for listening to our podcast. Be sure to subscribe and leave a rating on your favorite podcast platform and YouTube. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at AlwaysMorePod.
If you'd like to ask us a question for us to answer on the pod, you can email us at alwaysmorepodcast@gmail.com, or you can call us on our Always More hotline and leave a voicemail question at 254-218-4042.
You can also follow all of our social medias individually and as the Always More podcast. Thanks for listening. Let's get back to it.
Hello. We are back from the break. Yeah.
I love being back from break.
Me too.
It's like my
pretty
favorite.
Cool.
It's my favorite thing to do after break is come back.
No.
No?
On the podcast, yes. But in real life?
I just mean on the podcast. In real life, I would much prefer the break continue forever.
Yeah, I'd rather rip out each individual toenail than return back from a break.
Wow.
Jeez.
But anyways, that's just my personal health. We are going to move into our fan questions. So this is the part where we answer.
Did I interrupt you?
I screwed that up. Can I do it again?
I mean, sure. I don't think you messed up until you stopped.
Really?
Yeah, you're just going with it. It flowed.
Yeah, but I wanted to jam to the music. I forgot there was music.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it. Start over.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to keep
Ready?
the recording. Like I'm not editing this out.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
Keep it rolling.
Okay, well then, never mind. We're not going to do it again.
No, do it again anyway.
No.
Whoa. The hostility.
We will be answering your questions. And in case you guys forgot, I swear we mention it every podcast, every single one.
No one wants to
You
call
guys
us.
don't get an option to forget. We have an Always More hotline, like where you can like call and like leave a question or a statement or a complaint or a comment or whatever.
As long as it's nice.
You know what? Screw it. You can even leave a mean one. Spice it up a little bit.
Just know that if
Throw
you
us
do,
through
I'm
a loop.
probably going to cry.
And we'll have that on video. And that'll be great.
It'll be all on you.
Yeah. But yeah, you can leave us a voicemail. Nobody will answer.
Nope.
It just goes straight to voicemail at, what is the number? Tim.
254-218-4042.
Again, Chris.
254-218-4042.
Simple enough. So,
I'm going to start asking my customers at work.
Here's the number you can call.
If you have any questions, please call the
We're going to get some questions. How do I disarm my system if I forgot my PIN number? How do I add a camera?
I'm glad you asked.
Can we get that smart thermostat now, or is it too late?
And here's how you do it. Okay, so our first question is by Benny Thomas Smith Jr. Kind of feel weird saying this man's whole name, but it is what it is.
It's his Facebook name.
Cool. He asked, What color is the sky when the sun goes down?
Black.
In the process of going down or after it goes down?
After it
This
goes
question
down,
is not
if
clear.
there is no sunlight whatsoever, sky's black. Because it's the absence of color, and there's no color in space.
Okay, but I think he means like, what is the process? Like, what is the color of the process of the sun going down?
No, I think he means like once the sun is down, what color is the sky? Now, that being said, since our Earth is an electromagnetically locked planet, it has its own magnetic field. Light bends when it hits the Earth, so it's never truly not lit. I would say the sky is more like violet, like the longest possible wavelength that we can see.
Yeah,
It'd
black
be
does have a
violet.
little bit of purple to it, like a violet
Yeah.
hue.
Yeah. I think it's just like a really dark purple, almost like we wouldn't be able to see color if it goes any further.
So wouldn't the proper answer to the question is, at least concerning how we perceive it, is there is no color?
Theoretically, yes. But in practicality, it's just bending the light even further.
But actually, that's even true. Even if we can or cannot see it, because color isn't just a reflection of like light reflecting off of objects.
No,
The wavelengths that are reflected off of
they don't have to be reflected off of something. That's refraction. But
Hold on, I'm going to science this.
you're going to science it? You mean Google it?
Shut
I'm
up.
just going to type it into Google.
The property possessed by an object of producing different sensations on the eye is a result of the way the object reflects or emits light.
Or emits.
Or emits.
Yeah, if it's reflecting, it's refraction. If it's emitting it,
So if there is nothing to reflect off of, if there is
you're getting the direct wavelength of that light.
no, you're getting no wavelength. You're getting nothing.
So therefore, it would be black, which is the absence of color.
Well, no, not necessarily. Black is black that? Hold on.
Yeah.
Black is the absence
Black
of color.
is a shadow.
White is all of the colors blended perfectly. When it comes to light, anyway.
Okay, all right. But then, okay, so this is saying the same thing then. It's one and the same. Saying that it's black is saying that there is no color.
Yeah. That's
Just-
what I'm saying.
Black is what we
But
understand.
since our Earth bends all the light that comes from the sun, and we are never not getting sunlight, like if the sun
Yeah, even from
exploded
the
and
moon.
somehow we survived, it would be black. But
But it would also be nothing.
since we're constantly getting light, it's just bending the light in different ways based on where we are in relation to the sun. So I think it's just dark purple.
Hank Green, we need your help.
How many times
He
are we
will
gonna,
never
how many times
answer
are we gonna
us.
ask him?
Well, considering
For
I don't
help.
think I've ever put it on TikTok, I need to put a official
Yeah.
cry out for help. We need a Rohan will or Gondo will call for help, and hopefully Rohan will answer. And by Rohan, I mean Hank Green.
If he answers, I'm calling him Rohan for the rest of his life.
Rohan.
I'm gonna forget that his
Okay.
name is Hank Green.
So are we concluding that it is deep purple?
Benny, I'm saying deep purple.
I'm saying nothing.
I will also say deep purple.
Bum, 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 bum,
That was pretty good.
Smoke on
Okay.
the Water, Deep Purple.
Oh yeah.
It's a band, Deep Purple. They did the song Smoke on the Water and Fire in the Sky.
I definitely know that song.
I know this song. I learned it like one of the first songs I learned on bass. But
Based on the bar you worked at, Harley, I would absolutely assume you know that song.
Yeah. Okay. So that concludes that. Thank you, Benny. You are the best.
Harley, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you to give out this next question?
I
0.
I want to first and foremost apologize for my friends. Richard, you're a great guy. Love you to death. Hilarious.
But-
I don't want to answer this question.
Yeah.
However, we did promise that on the Always More podcast, we would answer any questions.
For deeper understanding.
And I did wait a long time to get this one on the pod, so
Yeah.
You gotta tag him in this one so he knows that we're finally answering his question.
yeah.
Okay.
The question is, do you think sex dolls are sapient in the world of Toy Story? Why should that be the plot of Toy Story 5? My answer is, to that second question, is that it shouldn't.
My answer to the second question is that because a lot of nostalgia bait movies are growing with their audience,
Oh yeah.
that's kind of where we're at now as a society.
I'm surprised there isn't a book out.
There's fan fiction 100%.
There's got to be. Yeah.
You have to know
yeah.
there's fan fiction. But I feel like, I mean, since that's where we're
gives me the
at
chills.
as a society, like that's where the movie should go, I guess. I don't know.
Oh,
There's probably
I think it's going to be rated R.
Look, you know what?
yeah.
If you guys are internet people at all, you know Rule 34.
Oh yeah.
If it exists, there's porn of it.
Yeah.
So there's probably a porn somewhere
Right.
based on this as a thing. Now, that being said, I think sex dolls are sapient in the world of Toy Story if and only if you write your name on them.
Yeah, I agree.
Things that are not intended to be toys have to have your name written on them and played with as a toy, like Forky in Toy Story 4.
Well, see, that was always my question when it came to Toy Story and the rules of the universe is, does anything that has a name on it become that way? Because
No.
because
you have to have a name and be played with as a toy. Because her backpack had her name on it, and that was not a toy.
true, but the Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story 2 came to life, even though he had not yet been played with.
That's already established as a toy, though. Like if it's
But like
if
Forky
it
was
is a
built
toy-
to be a toy.
yeah, if it's a toy, then yes. If it's something that could be a toy, it has to have the name and be played with as a toy. Because Forky didn't come to life until Bonnie wrote her name on him, even though she'd been playing with him all day.
Okay, well then here's my
He
other
didn't have
rebuttal to
sentience
that.
until she wrote her name on him.
What about things that are legitimately classified as sex toys? It's a toy.
So
Yeah.
that's where I fall apart on my questioning my logic there. Like a vibrator, it is a sex toy. So theoretically, yes, because it is canonically established as a toy.
But it would have to
So
have a
it
name
doesn't
on it.
have to have the name
To be sapient.
to be, yeah. But a blow up doll is not technically a sex toy.
What?
It's not classified as a sex toy. It's a blow up doll.
I think you're getting just caught up in semantics here.
I don't know. That it's weird. Like you would think, yeah.
But it's a doll.
Yeah, it's a doll. It's a toy.
So then
yeah.
it's a toy.
Fair enough. Okay.
So then it would have to be sapient.
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes. Sex dolls are sapient in the world of Toy Story,
Yeah, Richard, I think I agree.
and it's just a topic that they do not approach in the movie because those movies are for kids.
Could you imagine though, like what that story plotline would be? It would have to end in revolt.
Would it?
Revolt?
With sex toys involved? Yes. I mean, especially sex toys involved. Even
Why?
if it wasn't. Are you kidding me?
But
What
why?
they have to
Consent.
go through?
But maybe they enjoy it. That's
Maybe-
what they're made for.
I'm sure some do.
That's what they're made for.
But you're telling me,
Maybe they're happy about it.
look, all the toys in Toy Story have different emotions, and some like.
Yeah, but they just like getting played with
I guess well, good point.
in whatever aspect Andy decides to use his toys. I'm sure Andy's mom, her toys appreciate being played with as well.
Oh, sweet God. Righto. Well, I think that answers your question,
So there you
Richard.
go.
I'm gonna make sure I put a not safe for work.
NSFW.
Yeah, thing on the
Please
notes.
do. So thank you for that, Richard.
Just the very end.
Right.
Just the very end.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I still do not think there should be a plot for Toy Story 5 that
No.
pertains to this genre of toy.
Oh no, absolutely not.
But it absolutely is probably going to be in.
But
already
there's-
is a book.
If there's
fan
not
fiction.
already
Yeah.
porn of it, there will be soon.
Yeah.
And I'm almost certain there is.
Cool. Hate that for us. So
oh, humanity.
Oh,
he has simply made a fool of us. We must revolt.
I think that's enough on that one.
Yeah,
We-
yeah,
we
I think we should
move
just
on.
end the show.
Yeah.
On that
Forever.
We're gonna
Just
go
end the
ahead,
show
uh,
forever. Not even come back for another episode. We're done after that.
No, we're done. Shutting down. So yeah, everyone, that concludes our fan questions. If you have any more that maybe don't pertain,
Or even if they do, obviously we'll get to them eventually.
we'll get to them and we'll evaluate it theoretically.
We will honestly answer the questions.
I just want to point out that although these are my friends, Tim's the one that picked the question.
To be fair, I waited a long time to answer this question.
He asked this one a long time ago. Yeah.
Tim's like doing copy and paste, and he's like, "It's time. It's enter."
It is time.
Oh man.
Very good. Okay, friends. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up the show.
Yeah. Final thoughts?
My final thought is that I'm a slut for weather. I love it. I love it. I love weather. I love weather.
I will say respect weather, respect Mother Earth, and
Yeah.
be aware
Yeah.
of your surroundings, your environment, and climate change. Climate change,
What
guys.
you're doing to weather.
This stuff is real. Just pay attention to real scientists, and it's not hard to figure it out.
My
Facts,
favorite is
no
when people are like,
printer.
well, for every scientist out there that says it's a thing, there's a scientist out there. No, there isn't.
No, there isn't.
No. There's maybe like 1 in 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
99% of scientists agree that climate change is a thing, and like it takes 10 seconds of looking at the history of stuff to understand that it is.
Yeah. Speaking of, I learned something very interesting the other day, and this kind of furthers the point to show that science is not like this black and white thing. I learned the other day that our 24 hours in a day is not exact.
Yeah, it's like 23.59 or something like
Well,
that.
not only that, but it changes. And there's different ways that it can change. Like from day to day, it can change. It can change based on where we are at in the universe, depends on how close we are to the sun. But even more interestingly, it can change based on how much mass is towards the poles or not. Because when there's more mass towards the poles, I think it spins faster, if I'm not mistaken. And so if icebergs start melting away, there's less mass at the poles, which can do something to the day. I can't remember.
Speeds up our day.
Yeah, and so long story short, I say that to say that even things that we think are like this common sense, 24 hours in a day or leap years or whatever, like no, there is scientific stuff to this, to all this, and there's real people that have real jobs dedicated to knowing the very complex layers and all this. And
So what you're saying is the people that tell us, well, work hard, you've got the same 24 hours in a day as Elon Musk, they're literally taking away the 24 hours in a day that we have too. Like,
yeah. So I say all that to say that pay attention. This is important because my kids, your kids, Harley, if you ever choose to have kids, they will probably begin to suffer from our choices.
Yep.
yeah, sounds about right. Okay.
Yay.
That ended on a dark note.
Yeah, Harley, what are your
Yeah.
final thoughts? Please lift us up.
My final thought is that weather is really cool and really, 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 really scary. And that you should not be knowledgeable on what weather occurs in your area in which you live and how to prepare for it and how you can survive it and what steps you need to take in the aftermath and etc. just so you're prepared.
Do you have a
and
tornado
aware.
shelter there?
Hmm?
Do you have a tornado shelter there?
Yes, but you can't take your pets to them, apparently.
Do you have a basement?
So that's no basement.
Interesting.
His parents have a basement, but not at where we currently live. So
Okay.
Gotcha.
Stay safe.
Yeah.
thanks. Yeah, guys, we're gonna go ahead and close out. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review
Yes.
on all podcast listening platforms.
Please.
Give us a like on YouTube, subscribe, share with your friends, your family, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, all that cool stuff. We're everywhere. You cannot ignore us any longer.
We're not everywhere. We don't have a
We're
what's the conservative one? Telegraph? We don't have one of those.
Oh, Truth
Oh.
Social.
Or Truth Social. Yeah, we don't do that.
we're in a lot of places. Not all places, but a lot of them.
The ones that matter.
The ones that matter, yes. And if you don't like our podcast, please rethink that. Try again, maybe a different episode.
And then hate share it. If you still don't like us, hate share it.
You know what? Yeah. And just give us all of your attention.
There you go.
because that's what haters do.
All press is
You're-
good press.
Okay. Thank you all again for listening to our podcast. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Always More Pod. Tim, where can we find you?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok at Timothy Lichty. That's Liechty.
I am on Instagram as Captain_CT Ford and TikTok as Christopher.Lionheart.
On Instagram, you can find me at WUT Harley, what Harley, and on the Clock app at harleybean.co. Thank you guys so much for listening to our podcast and joining us today to be a part of the conversation. And remember, there is always more than this. Bye!
Bye. Thank you for listening to the Always More podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, share, like, and rate on whatever your platform of preference is. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Always More Pod. If you'd like to submit a question, you can ask us on any of our social media platforms, or you can leave us a voicemail at 254-218-4042. If you'd like to feed into our caffeine addiction as well as support the podcast financially, you can do so at buymeacoffee.com/alwaysmorepod. For further information and to contact us, you can email us at alwaysmorepodcast@gmail.com.